Hello, DirtFish Rally friends, and welcome to round 2 of the FIA World Rally Championship. It is Rally Sweden, but a very different Rally Sweden from the one that we have become used to. We've moved north, round about 700 kilometres north of the capital Stockholm, to the beautiful city of Umeå. Now, who knows anything about Umeå? Yeah, well, I didn't know an awful lot, so I did a little bit of research. It is, with 130,000 occupants, the 13th largest city in Sweden. But here's the interesting thing. It's also home to 2 universities, 39,000 students. Now, those universities, well, one of them in particular is world leading in its gene research, in its medical and gene research. It won the Nobel Prize in 2020 for chemistry. So, yeah, in terms of academic and academia, this is one of the world's leading research centres for gene therapy. On top of that, what else have we got from Umeå? But what about the name Umeå itself? Well, it goes back many, many years. The ancient Norse language, the word Uma means raging. Umeå, raging river. That gives you an indication of where we are. We're on the banks of the river here. What are we going to get this weekend? Are we going to get a raging river of roaring rally cars? I suspect we are. It's going to be mega exciting out there on the stages. What have we got in terms of stages? Well, we've got 19 stages on the itinerary. Don't forget, we've lost a couple of those stages because of, would you believe, reindeer moving around a little bit too much. Now, isn't it absolutely stunning? It's a beautiful, beautiful place indeed. So as I was saying, 19 stages still on the itinerary, but we lost 2 stages on Saturday. What does that leave us with? 265 kilometres, 17 competitive stages. But the question you're all asking is, how do those stages look? Well, we've made it out to stage 2 of the rally. We're round about 60 or 70 kilometres north of Umeå. It's more or less as far north as we come during the rally. Now, the section is really typical of stage 2. Whoops, hello. Let's watch this, one of the recce cars. The recce's still ongoing. Car 51, a sweeping left-hander, this one. Narrow-ish between the trees. The start of the stage, it's quite bumpy. Really quite bumpy, surprisingly bumpy, a little bit technical in places. It then opens up and gets very, very fast indeed. Whenever we come to a winter rally, there are 3 things that we talk about. We talk about the snow cover, how much snow there's going to be. We talk about the snowbanks, are there going to be any? And we talk about the ice base, what's it like, how's it going to hold up? Well, let's talk in a little more detail about all 3 of those elements. As you can see, it's a winter wonderland up here. They've had plenty of snow. It's absolutely beautiful. The photographs, listen, I know, the snow cover on the trees doesn't mean anything in terms of the rallying, but it's going to look magnificent. You can see there's been a lot of snow in this region. Let's take a look at the snowbanks. Why are the snowbanks important? Well, the snowbanks are a kind of insurance policy. You would never, ever, ever deliberately run into a snowbank, but you might be a little braver in a fast corner if you know that there's a solid snowbank on the outside that might just save your bacon if you touch it. They can also, unfortunately, suck you into the deep snow as well. But that depends on just how solid those snowbanks are. This one, whoa, look at that. Come here. Have a look at this. That's, it's not, they're not really. To get a solid snowbank, you've got to have snow that's ploughed, little bits of a thaw which creates a bit of water, then a freeze, and you get solid snowbanks. These are not so solid. They're big, but they're not so solid. We might see 1 or 2 issues with these this weekend. The third element that we always talk about is the surface. There's not a bad base here. It's not that really deep, thick ice base that we've seen before. Come down here, Elliot, take a look at this. It's not the really thick base that we've seen before. As you can see, there's a little bit of grass coming through there, a little bit of gravel coming through there, but it is absolutely solid as you like. When do you get a problem with a not so deep ice base? Well, you get a problem on the slower corners where the gravel starts to come through. I don't think that's going to be an issue this weekend. I think that base will give us plenty of traction, plenty of grip, plenty for those Pirelli studded tyres to bite into and to propel the cars forward. The slower corners, well, there aren't so many on this rally. There really aren't. We might see a little bit of gravel. We might see some ruts developing on some of the slower corners. Not so much on the fast corners, clearly, and there are lots of really fast corners here. So it's going to be interesting, isn't it? We've got those three elements, and they're looking good. The snow cover's good, the snowbanks are certainly pretty high, and the ice base is there. But there's actually four things that we always talk about when we come to winter rallies. And that fourth thing is the weather forecast. Did someone mention the weather? Oh my word, listen. You know, we've seen in Sweden before and in Norway when we've been there. Temperatures around about, I'll say that again, temperatures, get my mouth working, it's hard in this cold. Temperatures around about minus 25, minus 30 degrees. That is okay, as long as you're wearing the right outfits, the right clothing. This is where it gets difficult. It's round about minus 8 degrees just now. There's a wind blowing across. We're at one of the highest points on the rally, on stage 2 of the rally, 400 metres. And look at this, beautiful long straight. We're back onto the wide roads. These are the wide roads that were created when they were building the wind farms that sit on top of this wind-swept hill. My goodness me, it really is a little bit chilly. So, as I say, the other thing that's point 4, if you like, in terms of what we always talk about on winter rallies, the weather forecast, which is so important. This weather that's coming down now, who's going to be interested most in this weather? Well, for sure the guys at the front of the field. So Kalle Rovanperä, Craig Breen, Thierry Neuville, the first 3 cars on the road. This is not what they want to see. The forecast, even though it's light snow, the forecast for tomorrow, Thursday, is on and off light snow flurries. It could well give us a little bit of accumulation on the surface, which will then mean that it's a little difficult for the first 2 or 3 cars, because you want to get down through that snow. These wonderful Pirelli tyres, they'll clear that snow away, but you don't want to be clearing the snow. You want to be digging in with the studs to the ice. So this kind of weather, not good for our first few cars. In terms of the rest of the weekend, well, the snow will more or less stop. Probably late on Thursday afternoon, another recce car coming through. Late on Thursday afternoon, the temperatures are really quite mild. Right now, minus 8. Tomorrow, overnight, down to minus 12, minus 13. But up almost to freezing, minus 1, the maximum temperature. Thursday, then into Friday. Saturday, again, the maximum low, minus 7, minus 8 degrees. And again, the maximum high, round about freezing. On Sunday, it may well go just above freezing. So they're great conditions. You know, it's not going to thaw, but it's not too cold for example, the spectators. But here's another question for you. What are we going to see in the way of spectators? Varmlands, around the Varmland region, Hagfors and that kind of area, lots and lots of spectators out on the stages. They've been going there for years. They know the best places to go. They build their fires. They have a fantastic time in the forest. Are we going to see the same here? Well, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we see a lot of people out on the stages, because we talked about it earlier. These snowbanks, if you go into the snowbanks off the road, you know, you're going to need to have some spectators to help you bring the car back out onto the stage. I think that could be an issue here, because well, where we are here on this stage, access is difficult. The total number of spectators might be a little bit less. You don't want to go off the road and get stuck and be relying on the rally fans to get you back on, because you might be waiting quite some time for a number of people, for enough people to turn up and help you out. So there we are, folks. That is what we've got to look forward to on Rally Sweden. I am going to now head back to my wonderful Volvo XC90 because I'm freezing. But stay with us, folks, at DirtFish.com for all the news, all the action from this week's Rally Sweden.